Hola, ¿cómo estás? Mi nombre es El, pero para mis amigos y amigas de español, mi nombre es Arquero. Bonjour, salut, je m'appelle El, mais le français, je m'appelle William. Konnichiwa, hajimemashite, watashi wa Kubo desu. So right there, I was able to introduce myself and tell you my name in 3 different languages: Japanese, French, and Spanish. Can you do that? Can you carry on a conversation with someone who's not a native English speaker? Can you go to your favorite Mexican food spot and order what you'd like to eat off the menu in Spanish? Unfortunately, the odds are that you can't, which is going to lead me to my argument today. That being that I think it's imperative that a foreign language, primarily Spanish, is made mandatory or compulsory in the educational system here in the United States. So, the reason I say that is because I ran across some pretty harrowing numbers. There are 1.5 billion English speakers on this earth, and out of that 1.5 billion, only 380 to 400 million are native English speakers. That's pretty that's pretty stark right there. So that means that 75% of those English speakers on earth are secondary English speakers. So, there's another statistic. 22 or 20 to 23% of Americans are bilingual, which, it sounds like that's a decent amount when you realize that only 1 to 2% of those are natural born Americans. So that's another scary one. And so the reason that I argue Spanish is because according to the census, there are 41 million Spanish speakers in this country. 41 million that speak Spanish in their homes. And so it becomes pretty apparent that when it comes to being bilingual or multilingual, Americans primarily are pretty behind the curve. And the reason that is will bring me to my second point. English is the lingua franca of the world. It is taught in schools, whether for business, for education, or for personal means, just because it's how we conduct business in this world. So, let's talk about the educational systems in Europe. In Europe, it is compulsory that a foreign language is taught, and typically by default, that language is going to be English. Just like here, by default, that language is Spanish, and for good reason. So in the European Union, so places like France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, it's almost without fail that just about everybody there is going to speak English at a relatively proficient level. They may not be smooth with it or have a C1 proficiency, but you will be able to go to those countries and speak to people. In fact, Sweden and Netherlands lead the world in the amount of people that are bi or multilingual. And I can see that for the Netherlands because they are kind of like the gateway to Eastern Europe from Central Europe in a way. But nevertheless, let's move on to Asia. So in places like Eastern Asia, so we're talking Japan, South Korea, China, Indonesia, it is like mandatory that you speak English. A lot of their courses are taught in English, just like in Africa, especially like Western Africa. A lot of like your school courses are going to be taught in English. In fact, English is so prevalent in Eastern Asia that their college entrance exams, like in China, it's called the Geocan or the Gaocan. A huge portion of that test is written in English. So you're tested not only on your ability to read and write, but also to speak the language. And if you don't pass those entrance exams, your hopes of getting a big boy job or getting into the college of your dreams are immediately dashed. So that's also going to lead me to talk about like the Middle East as well. Why so many Middle Easterners speak good English, and that's because it's kind of the same way in the Kurdistan area, which is like the northern Iran area. In Palestine, in Saudi Arabia, and in Yemen, it's also compulsory that you speak English. And that's another area of the world where there are so many different languages to speak. So the reason that I strongly argue that Spanish should be the one that we harp on in this country is because of that 41 million number and that 1 to 2% of Americans that are bilingual. It's pretty, or natural born Americans that are bilingual. It's pretty scary to think about and how easy it is, or it's excuse me, it's scary to think about how easy it is for us to travel and to be universally received with our language. As for when people come here, we immediately say, oh, you're in America, speak English. But let's not forget that English was not the first language that was spoken here. In fact, it wasn't even the second language that was spoken here. So, being one of the biggest melting pots of the world, we've opened our arms to our Hispanic brethren that are here, and before them, many other, well, many other cultures during the 19th and 20th centuries that were coming over. So like the Irish, who speak English but also have Gaelic, and Gaelic was still primarily spoken in Ireland back then. Italians, who, as we all know, speak Italian. Them coming over here and adding to their culture, making pizza a huge staple in this country. It's beautiful, you know. So us learning Spanish can really help to welcome in this new wave of immigrants that are coming to this country to find a better life, to start families. And it can really bridge that cultural and lingual gap. You can go to San Jose and order the burrito in Spanish. You can make a new friend. Maybe you choose to speak French in your spare time. You can get on Chat Roulette de Français, and you can meet somebody and learn their language, learn about their culture, be able to talk to somebody. And because I truly do think that outside of music, just language, speaking, is the great communicator. You know, and I think that it's time that us as Americans open our hearts and open our minds and open our mouths and start learning other people's cultures by their language.